Hello, Facebook. I'm going to give you guys some time to get in and join in with us. My sister will be here in just a second. So I am super, super excited to be joining, for she and I to be going live. So y'all, please make sure y'all let me know if you can hear me or not, because I have my AirPods in, and I typically, when I'm live, don't have my AirPods in. And but I did to try to make sure that we had really good sound quality. So if y'all can just thank y'all for come on in. Y'all already know it's gonna be lit. Please let me know. Somebody drop something in the comments. Just let me know that you guys can hear me okay, since I've got my AirPods in. And I never have my AirPods in when I'm live. Typically when I'm live with Carlton, he always wears the AirPods. So so I don't realize it. And so anyhow, if y'all can just let me know that you can hear me okay in the comments line, I would be so appreciative. But I pray that you guys have had an amazing Sunday. Hey Nita. Nita, can you hear me okay? Nita, can you let me know if you can hear me since I have my AirPods in, please? Okay, good. Thank you so much. So I am so excited about this live today. I get to do it with one of the most favorite people in my life, outside of my mother. Thanks, Demetrius. And y'all, please share the live. Candy will be here joining in just a second. She had to grab her charger. You will know my sis, her phone is like never charged. So, so she'll be here in just a second. But I just wanted to, first of all, thank you guys, of course, for always joining, supporting, sharing, and just being amazing support. And I promise you today is going to be nothing short of amazing. The other day, Candy and I were actually, God had allowed me to prophesy to someone, and then I had made a post God had shared with me, and it was so funny because I had made a post about I don't even remember what I said. I said sometimes it's not the seed, it's the soil that you decided to plant your seed in, or something to that effect. And it was crazy because like right after I said that, God allowed me to say that, I saw that Candy had posted something very, very similar. And so I was like, oh my God, sis, like I was just at that same moment. Hey, Mama Linda. I was just at that same moment, and I was like, we should do a live about this. And Candy and I have talked about going live together and us just sharing together. We have an amazing relationship. I was thinking about her earlier, and just how blessed I am to have her in my life. And I began to really just like tear up. You know what I'm saying? Just thinking about how amazing of a friend that I have. And, you know, great relationships, great friendships are so hard to come by these days. And, you know, when you have somebody that can help you war in the spirit, somebody that can speak to your situation, somebody that, you know, does not judge you, and that you can truly, hey, Alyssa, that you can truly share God's love with. Like, they just don't make them like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can always find somebody to go to happy hour with, but it's not often that you can find somebody that understands the mantle that you carry, and that carries the mantle like you carry. So they already understand the attacks, and they already understand, you know, how the enemy is coming at you, because the enemy is coming at them. And we, you know, for me to be able to be who I am, and be who I'm becoming, and be able to share that with her. I'll probably get emotional when she gets on here, and I don't cry about anything in life, but I get pretty emotional when I think about the great relationships that God has given me, that he's blessed me with. And that's just one of many that I have. And so, you know, if you don't have that person in your life that speaks into you, that speaks well of you, who prays with you, prays concerning you, you gotta find one of them. Like, you gotta start asking God, because I tell you, they better than a check, okay? Because you can spend a check, but they're better than a good check, honey. And that's what she is to me. And so as we were talking, I said, Candy, we need to do a live. And she has been on me about, we need to do a live together, anyway, because the people need to hear you. People need to hear you. And I'm like, girl, she sees me so much greater than I see myself all the time. And vice versa. And I have such a huge reverence and respect for her. And even anytime we're in each other's presence, we cry, just at the thought of how great it is to have such an amazing friend that knows your ins and outs. Candy knows all of my secrets. She knows. And it's like, I can't hide from her because she's so freaking prophetic and anointed that, I can't even hide from her. Anything, she'll call, sis, I had a dream and this happened. And I just be sitting there looking like, girl, leave me alone. Like, get off my phone. Bye. I ain't call you about that, and so anytime we're in each other's presence, we are both always so humbled about one another. And, Candy was one of those people that really pushed me into ministry, thrusted me into ministry. And she always says, you better come on here, girl, because, the world needs to hear what you have to say. The world needs to experience, the value that is on your life. And so I just thank God for her, and for us to be able to share and to have this moment together with the world that will forever be documented. And so I have been in prayer all day and consecrating, and I know that she's been in prayer all day as well. And so I know that God is going to do something unusual tonight. It's just something completely different than what he's ever done, because all day long I've just been having that overwhelming feeling that yokes are going to be broken tonight, that a word is going to be released that someone needs to hear. There's so many people that are hurting. There's so many people that are going through right now, and so many people who are trying to figure out, God, why isn't things working out in my favor? Why is it that, it doesn't seem like everything that I'm doing is not turning in the way that I would like it to go. And so I just believe that God is going to move on tonight. I believe that this is going to be a Jesus girl kind of night. This is not even like, no, we hanging with your home girl. No, this is going to be like an encounter with the Lord type of night, because I just believe that God is about to begin to do some unordinary things. We're in a very different and very unusual time right now. And so many people are concerned about, why isn't their seeds growing? Why is it that they don't see their seeds growing and multiplying and becoming? And so I'm just really, really, really excited that tonight we'll get to really jump into it. And so when I saw her post, after God had already allowed me to put my post up, I was like, we are on the exact same wavelength and we have not even spoken. So at that point I was like, okay, it's time. We're gonna have to go ahead tonight. We're gonna have to go on tonight and come on together and do our live. And so we had been putting it off, said we're gonna do it, and so finally we get to do it. So like I said, she'll be joining us in a second. If you've not heard the news, I haven't done just a formal live about this, but I know that I will very, very soon. My third book, Vulnerability, Art of Letting Go, it is complete, and it is going on pre-order next month. My third book, I can't believe it already. It seems like I just started writing yesterday, and now I have a third book. Like, I don't even know what to say about it. I do believe that it's going to be bigger than Purposeful Pain. I truly do believe that it's going to be bigger than Purposeful Pain. Purposeful Pain was pretty big, but I do believe Vulnerability is probably going to pass it up. Vulnerability is my journey to learning how to disrobe the pain that I had gone through. Because if you've ever went on the path of wholeness and trying to become, there's a season there where after you heal from a thing, that you will find yourself still dealing with the trauma of it, the remnants of it. And I went through a season of that. And so I started writing Vulnerability, Art of Letting Go 2 years ago. And so it is my guide to how I got to a place of vulnerability. Hey, Jaquel, a place of vulnerability, a place where I could begin to a place where I could begin to get free about the things that were bothering me, about the things that were basically keeping me from purpose, and taking on the life that I desire, the lifestyle that I desire. I wanted to be the wife that was worth being prayed for. I wanted to be the mom that was somebody my sons could be proud of. And so Vulnerability, Art of Letting Go is probably the most intense writing I've ever done. Intimacy was heavy, but vulnerability is intense. Because I really allow you to come on the journey with me. And hey, Jennifer. And really, really understand how to marriage the two. Oh my goodness, Jaquel, she says, yes, this is the journey I'm on. This is what I've been talking about. Yes, it is rough. And I was sharing with Antonio, one of my really good friends. Y'all know he and I do our PTSD relationship segments on Sundays. Hi, Jennifer Smith. I was sharing with him that I still struggle with being vocal. And, it's hard to tell someone that they've hurt you. Well, it is for me. And I have struggled with that for years, to the point where, you could hurt me and you'll never know. You could hurt me and I just would not, I would not share. And later on in the relationship, you would see my insecurities showing up, but I didn't know where they were stemming from. Where they were stemming from unmet expectations, not being vocal about what my needs were. And really, in that season, I didn't know what my needs were. You know what I'm saying? I knew that I needed something. I just didn't know what it was, and why I needed it. So I had to go back to the whys. Why do you need to feel safe and secure? Why do you, struggle with being vocal about, whatever the situation is? Why is that seeming to be such a big struggle for you? And so vulnerability, I give you all the steps from the chapter 1. I'll give you a snippet. It's called The Big Chop. And I talk about how vulnerability is really like you cutting, for natural women, it's like you cutting your hair and starting from scratch, and you really chopping off all of the ends that you have relaxed, you have straightened out yourself, or you have tried to keep straight yourself. And how those things, when you're deciding that you're wanting God to do a new thing in you, he has to chop those things off, and what that looks like and what that feels like. And, that really sent me on my journey of celibacy. Oh, great, Nita. Yeah, you're going to want to pre-order the book, Vulnerability. It's amazing. It sent me into my season of celibacy, because I had to chop off relationships and situations that were not feeding who God was calling me to be. And I knew was not feeding me to be who God was calling me to be. One of the things Carlton said last week on our live that has stayed with me since he said it is that most of us would much rather be distracted than developed. And I was in that season when I started writing Vulnerability, Art of Letting Go. I would have rather been distracted than developed. And so I was, and I used, that time to be distracted, not, just kind of playing with God. You know how you just kind of date God every now and again because you ain't really trying to do that much with him? That's how I was. And it was to the point where God was like, either you're going to trust me with your heart for real, or you don't trust me at all. And so when he addressed me in my prayer time about my inability to trust him, I had to just break down and be honest with myself that I was afraid to give God my heart. I was afraid. I was afraid because I had not seen it done. I was afraid because I hadn't seen a successful marriage. Even some of my friendships, girlfriends that are around me, most of them have gone through a divorce here recently after my divorce, so, and even those relationships weren't really healthy ones. And I was like, well, God, I don't want that. Like, I don't see what I want in the natural realm. And so God said, but what if you're the gateway to show the world what I meant when I said that a man will love his wife like Christ loved the church, and that, you are the Proverbs 31 woman. And I was like, well, God, do you know what I've been through? Do you know the things that I've done? Do you know the games I've played? You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to redeem me? And God said, why not you? And I had to get really serious with God about the fact that, I had got to the point where I was like, God, I don't want love. I'm fine working with you, and you don't never have to bring me anybody. Because I'm a loner naturally. That's what most people don't know about me, is I'm a natural loner. And so I was fine, because being single is easy. It really is. It's really easy. There's moments, but for the most part, it doesn't have all the requirements of a relationship. And so I was not ready to give God that, because I was like, first of all, God, how long you gonna take? Then what I'm gonna have to do? I'd already went through purposeful pain. I had already taken what I thought at that time losses, but they weren't. They were promotions, but I felt they were losses. So at that point in time in my life, I'm like, God, how much more stripping of me do you want to do? And so I really had to work on that. And so hey, Candy, uh Candy, can you request to let me add you in. I really had to work the art of letting go. My entire journey of what I've done to get to this level is documented in that book. And I'm so excited. September 2nd, it's going to pre-order, and I am going to be fasting the rest of this month and just really asking God, Luke 2:52, that He would give me increase in wisdom, favor with God, and favor with man. And that this book will be the book that really changes people's lives. So, hey, sis.
Hey.
Do you have your earphones in too?
Yeah.
Okay, I may take mine out to see if it helps the sound.
Okay.
Okay. Are you Wi-Fi?
Let me check and
Oh,
see.
you heard?
Huh?
It sounds better already. Mine out.
Oh, okay. Good. 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 Good.
Okay.
Good.
I can hear you.
Hey. I can barely hear you. Hang on.
Okay. Do you have the volume up?
Let me see.
So, vulnerable, art of letting go uh, will be the starter date will be September, and I'm just excited. Third book, I can't believe it. Third book in 2 years. And yes, I'm writing a fourth book already, part two. So I clearly don't stop ever. So anyhow, I sis, can you hear me better?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good, good. So I'm just so excited. First of all, I'm so excited. I almost got like emotional for you. People don't realize like how close we are. Like, we're really,
Yes. Yes.
and like how much I have so much respect for you. Um,
And the same here. You already know that.
and how anytime in your presence, I'm in awe. It's like I've been seen. Um, and I'm always so like you, and love you so
Oh,
much.
oh, I love you too.
And so this is the stuff people don't get to see. My vulnerability of people that really kind of pull it. And so just so excited.
I'm having a hard time hearing you now. Hang on. Let's see.
Okay.
It, it may just be my phone.
It may be because
Let me see.
guys, can you
It's like yeah, on my end, it sounds like it's chopping up. What about on y'all's end? Can y'all hear us? Okay, it may just be mine. There may be a sign that it's time for me to get a new phone.
you said look at my face? You said I did my
Yep, it's
I
pretty.
did myself.
It's pretty. It looks good.
Thank you, thank you. I'm
Yeah.
proud. You know I can't do nothing but so so anyhow, without further ado, guys, our live oh your husband said no it's not. Okay, good. Um
Okay.
I guess it sounds fine. So without further ado, I am so excited that you guys my other host, uh Candy Baylor. You know, I've been praying today. I've been praying. I feel like it's moments and moments. So I try to give y'all what's going to happen because Candy with your honey real quick. We'll be talking. Then next, one of us break out in prayer. It just goes like so. Tell you to expect. But good friend, it's alive. He said, "My daughter's not time for her to get on the phone."
Oh, that's what he's talking about. Yeah.
Tag your friend. The prayer child. The enemy they
Oh.
she opened her mouth. The line
See, yeah, yeah, they said that it's static. Try putting yours back in, Lauren.
okay, I just put one of mine in.
That's perfect.
That's
I
everything.
hear you clear.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear it clearly. What about, am I static in too, or?
No, you're not static into me. Were you on Wi-Fi or no?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'm on
Nope.
Wi-Fi. Do you think I should get off?
No, I hear you fine now.
Okay. Well, guys, can y'all let us know if y'all can hear us okay?
Let's see.
Jocelyn, can you let us know if we sound okay?
Let's see.
You think people can y'all hear us?
Yeah, we need to know.
Let's see what they say. Jocelyn said it's a little better than before.
Okay, good.
I may try to okay, I just turned my Wi-Fi off
Okay.
to see if that would be better. So, Candy, I'm gonna let you start out. So, of course, we were talking. I made a post about seed,
Mhm.
and sometimes it's not being the seed, but the soil. And God had gave that to me. Oh, Johnson said way better. Okay, good. Thank y'all. Um, God had shared that with me on Saturday. That sometimes it's not the seed, it's
Right.
the soil, and that the growth of the seed is not predicated on the seed, but on the environment.
Wow.
And so that really hit me because, like, I saw you had made a post like either right before me or right after me, but it was very along those same lines. And that's what I was like, since we got to go ahead and do this, it's like it's time. We on the same wavelength, and I ain't even talked to you.
Right. We haven't
And
talked.
yeah, we had not talked. And I think it's time for people to understand that your environment matters. Like a lot of times we think that it doesn't matter, who we're dealing with, who around us, as long as what we're doing works is going to work. But that's so not true.
Right.
And the enemy is robbing so many of God's people of their purpose and their destiny because they don't realize that the problem is not the seed, it's the soil. And so we change in relationships, and we change in people, and we change in situations because we're thinking it must be the seed, but it's where you're
Mm.
placing it.
Wow. Wow. That's good. That's
And,
good.
and even when I thought about pregnancy, the man releases a seed, but a man can't make a baby.
Exactly. He
Because
gave birth
if
forth
the
the
woman
fruit.
that he places the seed in has a body that cannot hold a baby, they still will never have one.
Exactly. Exactly. That's good. That's good. Wow.
So that really blessed me, because I felt like for a long time, even in my own personal situation, I felt like who I knew. Matter of fact, I knew when I filed for divorce that it had everything to do with my seed being in a soil that I knew it could not grow in.
Wow.
And I remember saying that on a couple of occasions, that that soil could not handle my seed.
It didn't have the capacity to contain what you. Yeah, that's good.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. And so hopefully on our live tonight, someone breaks free out of a season or an environment that's not growing their seed but actually suffocating it.
Wow.
That's been
Yes,
my prayer all day.
that's exactly what we're praying for tonight. That where we have, and not only the atmosphere or the environment of where we planted our seeds, but making sure that our seeds are doing what God has ordained them to do, making sure that we are in alignment with where God desires for us to be. Sometimes when God gives us an assignment, or when God tells us to do something and we don't do it and we're not producing, that basically will delay. That'll delay
Mm,
all types of blessings. It'll delay finances. It'll delay. You will experience marital delay, relationship delay, all types of delays. So in this season, we definitely have to learn to be obedient and make sure that where God has ordained us to be, or where He's called us to, what He's called us to do, that we are operating in total obedience. Because anything right now can pretty much bring a shortcoming to our productivity and where we're aiming, where we're supposed to be. Anything. I mean, the environment, the people that we're around. If God has, taken us from gambling, and we're around a bunch of gamblers, if we're not
mhm,
strong enough to resist that, then we'll fall right back into that same thing that we just came out of. So we have to obey God, and sometimes it's okay. We have to learn the art of being okay with isolation.
mm,
Because sometimes we have to be placed in an incubator, and that right there, I mean, that's just like you said something about birth. When we're in that recovery room, and everybody can't come in there. When we're in an incubation season, when we're in a season where we're being pruned, when we're in a season where we're being tested and tried, we definitely have to be sensitive to the Spirit. We have to be sensitive to God. We have to be willing to obey, even if it hurts. And when we're not producing what God has called us to produce, God will cut us off. He will literally, that blessing. I'm not gonna say just cut us off, but that blessing, or that where He showed us that we be, He'll go ahead and take it to somebody else. Somebody else, and you'll be wondering, why is that person doing the thing that God told me to do? That's
mhm,
supposed to be me. You'll think that they're hating on you, or you'll think that they stole your idea, when it's not that. We were just not obedient. We didn't isolate ourselves. We didn't adhere to the voice of God. So we definitely just have to be obedient, and making sure that our seed and our soil is in total alignment with what God has called it to be, because God has already placed that seed on the inside of us. We just got to learn how to break out. We have to learn to feed what's feeding us. If God keeps feeding you something, He's feeding you more. He's giving you, you've asked Him for things. You've asked Him for healing. We've asked Him to, God, if you do this, if you get me out of this situation, then I promise I'll let Him go. God, God,
Been there.
if you let me get this raise, God, I promise you, I'm gonna stop smoking cigarettes. I'm gonna say bye bye to the nicotine. Okay, so God, here He is. He keeps feeding us when we really don't even deserve it. So we
Hmm.
have to learn how to, when something is being fed, feed it back. When the plants grow, um I'm not into gardening yet, but when we plant seeds outside, we're planting them, we're watering them, we're checking on them every day, every morning. We're feeding them, and we expect them to do what? We expect them to bring forth fruit. We
Hmm.
expect for them to sprout. We expect for the plants to rise up. So what that does for us, that with them doing that, they're feeding us back. We're able to get a piece of fruit off of that, or we're able
Yeah.
to we're able to utilize what we've planted. But when we're not feeding what's feeding us, there comes the delay. So what's our real purpose?
Hmm.
So it's pretty. That was very. It was just reading what you posted earlier, or I don't know if it was yesterday or today, but just reading that right there definitely is powerful. It really is. So it's
And,
time for us to obey.
it's to that point where God is. I believe that God is trying to help us understand that we're still valuable.
Yes.
Sometimes when you plant your seed in the wrong soil and you don't see growth and you don't see the space and place where now, you're able to eat some of that fruit, you begin to think that your seed is bad. And so then
Oh
you begin
wow.
to devalue yourself. And see, right now the enemy wants us in a place where we're devaluing ourselves, where
Exactly.
we don't know our worth anymore, where we are settling for less. God is not
Definitely.
calling us to settle for less.
Definitely. Right.
He's not calling us to settle for less. But when you're not in the right environment, you'll settle thinking that this is the best it'll ever be because you haven't seen
Exactly.
better come.
Exactly. Exactly. We cannot be so hard on ourselves just because we're not at the place that we've had a vision of ourselves being. We
Hmm.
cannot. We cannot begin to think less of ourselves because we're not where we ought to be, or we're not where our friends are, or we're not where Sarah Jakes is, or we're not. These people have gone through a pruning and a processing. We cannot skip over the processing. So no, of course, don't begin to devalue yourself. Don't begin to think less of yourself. Don't begin to think that this is not what I pictured. No, it's good that it's not what you pictured. That ought to cause us to run even more. So
Yes.
don't. I mean, my thing right now is the season where what we're in. We cannot allow the enemy to get into our ear gates and basically starve that which God has already fed us. We can't allow the enemy to get in our ear and cause us to starve, and basically neglect what God has already put on the inside of us. And that is the true power of God. We know who we are. We're made in His image.
Hmm.
We are fearfully and wonderfully made. We have power in our mouth. We can speak to the mountain, and we can command the mountain to move. We can speak to our situation. So once we began to develop and catch the revelation of knowing the power of the tongue, and the power of who we really are, then that's when God will truly move. Sometimes it calls for separation. Sometimes it calls for us to secluding ourselves. We can't allow everything to come into our circle. And now everybody's talking about their space. Okay, whatever. You have to guard your space. We can't allow certain things to contaminate what God is doing within us. So before you begin to devalue yourself, begin to cut off some stuff. Cut off our old ways of doing things. Begin to cut off some dead weight. And when I say dead weight, I mean dead relationships, dead friendships, dead habitual doings, things that we're doing, and that it's not producing, it's not prospering us anything, it's not benefiting us. Or if it feels like a benefit, it's only temporary.
Hmm.
So begin to cut some things off and watch what God does. But whatever you do, don't allow God to cut you off, or don't allow God to cut. Come on, somebody. And when I
Mm.
say that, I mean your blessing, your anointing, the oil that you carry. Don't allow, don't be so stingy and miss out on what God is doing within you by just trying to hold on to something that's not producing.
And
And
so many people do that,
yes.
and stay in situations longer than what God has
Mhm.
designed and called them to. One of the things I was sharing with our listeners earlier, was that Carlton and I, one of the things that he said was, he said we would much rather be distracted than developed.
Right.
And how
Wow.
many of us have been there? I've been there, you know,
Yes. Lord.
that I've rather had been distracted than developed, you know,
Right.
and still having to come back to God and still allowing God to then prune further. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Him having to come and prune further. And y'all, please share our live. Those that are joining, please share. I know it's gonna bless somebody tonight. Um, and so, and Tania, I'm like you, despise not the days of small beginnings. Correct. Despise not the days of small beginnings,
Exactly.
because the
Right.
enemy will have you thinking that other people are winning and that other people are ahead of you. And they're not ahead of you.
Yes.
They're not,
Exactly.
they're not ahead of you. And so you will forfeit your destiny trying to keep up with somebody that ain't even in your lane. That's why I always tell people I don't compete where I don't compare. That's not an
No, not at
arrogance.
all.
That is a knowledge of knowing who you are in God.
Exactly. We have to know our value. We have to know where our place value, where we are to be. And everybody's not, everybody, God has literally touched everybody and give everybody a measure of
Hmm.
grace, a measure of favor. He's given everybody a measure, and we all have our own place. Your lane is not my lane. The way you do things is not the way, and we have to learn to be okay with that. Just because something worked for somebody else doesn't mean that it's going to work for us. And it
Correct.
doesn't mean that you're delayed. It doesn't mean that God has forgotten about you. It doesn't mean that you're overlooked. It doesn't mean that nothing good ever happens to you or for you. That just means that sometimes God wants us sometimes to basically fight for some things. He
Hmm.
wants us, sometimes it has to be a little resistance every now and then, because if everything's just given easy, then, that I like a challenge. I don't know about y'all, but I truly like a challenge. And see, even when it comes to ministry, there are a lot of people, mimicking other. You cannot do that. When it comes to that, we have to learn who we are and be okay with it. Be okay with it. Lord, equip me to be a better me. Equip me to be a better wife. Equip me to be a better speaker. Equip me to be a better mother. Equip
Hmm.
me to be a better entrepreneur. Just because Susie J got her a Kool-Aid pickle stand, don't mean you go get it and you see her thrive and her business is thriving. It doesn't mean we go, oh, let's go get a Kool-Aid pickle stand. And no, find what works for you. And I'm telling you, you push the accelerator on it. When you find what works for you, you push that thing into overdrive and you go for it. No matter what people are saying, no matter the opposition, no matter what comes, no matter. I'm telling you, once we get our minds made up, God will literally thrust us to a far place. He'll thrust us to our destiny that we have yet to come or seen or yet tap into. God will definitely do it. I truly believe it.
One of the things that I want to make sure that people hear and that are listening and people that will listen later on is, how to identify. Let's talk about that. How do you identify when your seed's in the wrong soil?
Oh, wow.
How do you
When
you know
you
what I'm saying?
know,
What happens? How you
yes,
know?
when you just ain't fitting in.
Mm.
God never created us to be a blender. And that's our problem. A lot of us, and I can truly say there are some experiences and some things that I've done and I've encountered, some time ago, where I found myself just blending in when God never created us to blend in. He created
Yeah.
us to blend out. He created us to stand out. So this is how you know when your seed, when your anointing and your oil is in the wrong space, in the wrong ground. When you're pouring your oil and it's not even being received. It's not even being received, nor is it being reciprocated. What you're pouring is you're not getting it back. That's one area there. That's how you know. You're pouring into the friends or you're pouring into the relationship and it's not being reciprocated. Or that's one area. And then for sure, when there's constant, let's see here, when we get uncomfortable, and I'm gonna put this disclosure and disclaimer out here. A lot of times when God has us in uncomfortable and unfamiliar places, it's not because it's not that we just don't fit in. But what I'm about to say right now is sometimes when you're uncomfortable and you get that gut feeling, a lot of us say when we don't know that it's the Spirit of God speaking to us, we'd be like, something just ain't right. Something keeps telling me that something is God nudging you, that something is God speaking to you, letting you know that, baby, this right here ain't it. You got to let this go because I have greater for you. There's greater for you. You can't stay here. You no longer fit in this space.
Yeah.
They no longer have anything that they can feed back into you. They no longer have anything that they can even connect into you. And I'm thinking right now, of when some weeks ago, you and I said something about the charger being plugged into the wall, and sometimes I'm thinking now, because sometimes it's not the cable. Sometimes it's not the box, but
Come
sometimes
on.
it can just be the entire circuit and the socket that we're plugged into. We're plugged into the wrong thing. But this is how
Jesus.
you know. This is how you know. If you don't know, this is how you'll know when you get in the face of God and you're like, God. And I can truly say this because it don't matter your level of Christianity. It doesn't matter your level of knowing the word or not knowing the word, because this right here, what I'm about to say, I literally had just told God that very moment. I said, God, I want more. And this is when I began to turn my life around. I said, God, I want more. I said, God, this is about to bless somebody. I said, God, and I meant it from my heart. I didn't say it just for cliche. I didn't say it because, I just wanted God to fix a situation temporarily, or I just needed him to do a quick a fix or give me a quickie. No, that
Right.
wasn't it. I wanted something that was going to last. So I said, God, you show me who's not for me. I said, God, show me the friendships. And I said, God, begin to show me if it's the relationship, if this relationship is not for me. This was 10 years ago. I said, God, if this relationship is not the relationship that you want me to be in, I said, God, even though it hurts, God, I give it to you. I wasn't saved, but that very moment, God saved me. God cleaned me up. And at that moment, God began to show me the friendships that he was going to cut off. And I was like, no, God, not that friend. She know all my business. I said, we ain't into it. I said, God, if you cut that relationship off, she gonna tell all my business. But I said, God, I said, by any means necessary, God, you have your way. And so then he showed me that the relationship that I was in at that moment wasn't the relationship that he called me to be in. And I said, God, but I want it. No, that wasn't it. And one thing for sure, when God begins to show us that, and when we really have that heart of God, and we're allowing God to literally step in and have his way, and we mean that when we say those words, God, show me if this is not for me. Show me where I need to be. Show me
Ooh, you
who's
better be
not for me.
ready.
Show me. You gotta be ready. And one thing for sure, and I'm gonna put this out here. One thing for sure, when God shows us and we don't do it, God would then. That's when it'll get ugly. That's when it'll get ugly. That's when he will literally cause. Sometimes he will cause those friends or those people that he showed you. He'll cause those to act as an agent or as a catalyst for your change. So he will cause them to literally. He'll put them to sleep. I'm gonna just say it like this right here. He'll put them to sleep and then wake up one morning and then just cause them to create a whole lie in their head. They'll be done created a whole lie about you in their head, and no longer want to be friends with you. It's not them. It's God. God did it because you didn't want to cut it off when he told you. So I'm telling you, you have to learn to be obedient when God tells us to do a thing. Be obedient. And it's okay. It's okay. But I'm telling you, we have to learn not to try to blend in. Stop trying to fit in where we don't belong. If it ain't fitting, baby, don't force it. Don't force it. Seek the face of God, and it's easy. It doesn't matter. It does not matter your level of knowledge in the Word. I'm telling you, people of God, like we as believers, we as Christians, we as people of God, because we are all children of God. What we are encountering right now, it's like a it's like falsified. People,
Mm-hmm.
the church has made it seem like we got to have ourselves all together. We got to have ourselves so fixed up and so together and so equipped and this and that to even come to God. No, God wants you just like you are. He wants you messed up. He wants you coming to Him just as you are. Why? Because He's gonna get the glory out of this change, because he want to be the one to show you
Yeah.
off. He want to be the one to put you in the presence of your enemies and show you off to the world. He want to be the one to prepare a table before you in the presence of them and show them that this is the finished product. She's not who she used to be. There's
Mm-hmm.
nobody but God that can change you, shake you, clean you up, turn you inside out. Place your feet, like they say, on solid
Come
ground.
on.
Get you out of the quicksand. And that's what we have to do. We have to stop allowing our minds to fall in that place of quicksand. And what is that quicksand? The quicksand is the lies of the enemy that he always feeds to us. Stop receiving that. The lies, oh, you fat. Oh,
Hmm.
that ain't gonna work for you. Your credit too low. Your children will always be like this, or you cursed, or that's a generational curse because your mama went through it,
Come on.
or it's gonna be like that, or your marriage gonna fail because your mother and your daddy's marriage fell, or you're gonna be sick, or you're gonna keep on with high blood pressure and all these different sicknesses and ailments because that runs in your family. The devil is a liar. We have to learn to stop being so receptive of all the negativity. Stop being so receptive of the things that God has not fed us, and begin to drink on the real water, drink from the
Mm-hmm.
true well, drink from the living well. And that well, I'm telling you, we begin to drink and eat of that, we can't go under. We won't fail, and that's that.
And I agree with you 1000%. I can remember the season in which and you've been there through all my seasons. Um
Mhm.
but that season when I just had to accept that where I was headed you couldn't go.
Exactly.
And that was a tough decision. And
Yes.
I often tell people, the anointing and the all that's on my life, I did not ask for. Um
Mm-mm.
God just saw fit. He knew the
Exactly.
end in my beginning.
Right.
And for me, I just had to trust him, and trust that it was going to be okay. I was sharing last night with my girlfriend Angela, and I said to her, I said, the things that I was complaining about last year, this year is not even a conversation for me and God. Everything that
Wow.
I was complaining about last year with God, I have not asked him about this year, not one single time. It has not even been a topic of conversation. And so, as I am, walking into vulnerability and preparing myself to be a wife and preparing myself to be a partner again, because I'm going to be a
Yes.
partner again, and I believe that
Yes.
that I'm going to be a partner again because of where God is taking me and what He's calling me
Definitely.
to impact. um I had to start dealing still with some insecurities, dealing
Yes.
still with understanding, no, you can't just settle for less. You can't settle for the easy. You can't settle for the easy. See, I
Absolutely.
was trying to settle for the easy. Even after that, you see what I'm
If it
saying?
comes
Even after,
easy, I don't want it.
sis, even
Yeah.
after he took me from Pharaoh, I was still trying to settle. And that's just real. And I think that for a lot of us, these are the type of conversations that they weren't having at prayer service.
Yes.
They weren't having these conversations at none of the prayer services I went to, and I was the only little girl in there. And as a grown woman, it is my desire to die empty. But in order
Yes.
to do that,
Wow.
I have got to be properly planted. I can't be a tree planted by the water if I'm planted in sand.
Exactly.
And you have to no longer be fearful. But see, the enemy will keep us so fearful to the point where we will not step out into the abundance of God, and we will never
Definitely.
enjoy the land of milk and honey, because we are still complaining to God about the forest that we had to go through. We still complaining about, that dark place that we had to go through. But God said, I was pruning. It was so many relationships even then that I had to let go of.
Wow.
People that I never thought would be on my block list is today.
My block is hot.
Baby, my block is hot. My block is so hot. You hear me? Like, I was reblocked. And because fear can't afford my destiny. And I always say that
Exactly.
fear can't afford my destiny. And so, you gotta I always tell people, you gotta get around winners so it don't sound like you bragging.
Absolutely.
Because it got to a point where, like, even for me, like, I've had men tell me, you're intimidating, just
Wow.
based on all the things that I'm doing, all the things that God has placed in me, where I'm headed. So to me, I'm like, oh, that ain't it. That
Exactly.
ain't
We
it.
we don't want the weaklings.
Yeah, we don't want the weaklings. That ain't God. That ain't it. That's fine, God. One of
Exactly.
the another way to identify if your seed is in the wrong soil is if you feel like you suffocating,
Wow.
because you begin to feel like it. The germination process starts first with the seed dying once you plant it.
Exactly. You
But
have to die.
it has to die. So what
Hmm.
parts of you are you willing to let die in order to take hold to what God is calling you to do?
Exactly.
There are a lot of people that have not reached destiny because they're not willing to let things die. And you know what's so funny to me, friend? And I was thinking about this literally this morning. I was like, God, why is it that people be so gung ho to attach themselves to the things of the world, but shun the things of you? They don't
Wow.
want people to know they a Jesus girl. I am a Jesus girl. You don't have to deal with that. I have a I
Accountability.
have a
No one
prophetic
wants to be
anointing.
accountable.
You don't have to deal with that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
why is it that we be so quick to disown God, but we'll take on the world in a minute, and we don't have no problem with that. We don't have no issue with that. But
No,
let
but
you get COVID, you want to call God.
exactly. Speaking of that, I'm just thinking about accountability. No one wants to
Mm,
be accountable, so that's why it's so easy. That's why it's so easy to go with the new fad, or roll with the crowd, or blend in with the world, because no one wants to be accountable. If you brag on God, or whatever, then if somebody see you slipping, you ain't gonna be held accountable. It don't matter. A just man does what? Falls down 7 times, but he don't stay there. He gets
come
right
on.
back up again. I've fallen down. Truth be told, I've fallen down even in salvation, even in ministry, even as a preacher. I've fallen. And any
I
preacher
done
or
failed.
any minister or anybody with a platform, I'm telling you this right now, anybody that has a platform that's going to tell you that they have not fallen, that's a lie.
That's a
That
lie.
is a lie, because we fall in our minds before we even commit it. We fall in our minds before the action is even performed.
Come on,
So it's
Candy.
okay. But the thing is, one thing for sure is, this is how you know when God got your back, when you able to bounce right back. It's the ability to bounce back. How great is that bounce back anointing? You ain't
Mm,
gonna stay there. And this time around, you ain't gonna allow that loss, okay, to keep you down there. You're gonna allow that L to literally cause you to get another L. What's that next L? Elevation.
come on.
Okay, you're gonna allow that L and that fall to take you to a place of elevation. I've seen that before. I've been down that road before. I know how that go. I'm not going there no more. I did this. I fallen for your type before. I ain't falling for your type no more.
Sir, I've fallen for your type before, sir. And that definitely has not helped me get any closer to my purpose or my destiny. I was thinking the other day, um, grace is like a trampoline. Grace is
Wow.
like a trampoline. It is your ability to jump.
Hmm.
And when you jump, and you may go down, but when you pounce up, you go higher.
Listen.
That's how God's love is for us. It's like a
Yes.
trampoline. And I tell people all the
Yes.
time, I ain't made it. So don't come on my platform with you expecting me to look perfect. And no, but I ain't made it. I
Right.
said,
Right.
follow me as I follow Christ. I ain't
Exactly.
made it. Okay.
Exactly.
I can't
None of us
promise
have.
you that I'm not gonna fall. I'm not gonna promise you that, my fall ain't coming up. I pray it ain't, but it could be.
Yeah.
It could be. But what I have learned is how not to beat myself up for the times that
Exactly.
I did not value me properly.
Yes.
Because every detour takes you on a journey to another lesson. See, sometimes God is
Yes.
calling us to impact another thing, but we're so focused on the pain that is causing us that we're not focusing on
Listen.
the progress that it's going to give us.
Wow. That's good.
We're focusing on the pain, but not the progress. See, sometimes you got to go, a little further out because there's somebody on another trail that God needs you to go and get. That's why he gives his
Exactly.
strongest battles to his strongest soldiers. I literally today was having a conversation with someone, and I was like, I don't know what more God wants from me. On God, I was like, I don't
Wow.
know how much he wants, but I'm
Wow.
about tired. And these real conversations, see, this is what anointed people don't be talking about. They be too
Right.
busy trying to make it seem like they holding up holy hands and falling down on the floor. No, it gets tiring. It's no
Yes.
difference from when Jesus said, "Can you just let this cup pass?" He was already tired.
Yes.
He was already tired. And that's how it is sometimes, even for the mantle.
Hmm.
That's why I always tell people, I'm not really what you think you want, because my
Wow.
mantle too heavy. If you
Yes.
ain't ready for war, you ain't ready to walk with me.
Mm-mm.
Because you got to know that the enemy is going to be on my trail because of what I carry.
Exactly. What you carry.
Because of what I carry. And so, I'm at a season where I want God's people free. I want them free to understand that you are destined to be who God has called you to be. Stop settling your seed in soil that you know can't grow you. You put your seed in concrete, but you mad that it's not growing like your neighbors. It's only growing up weeds.
Exactly.
But it's because we are not properly placing ourselves, and we are getting tripped up and tricked up into believing that this is the best, this is the greatest it's ever going to be. The devil is a lie.
Exactly.
The
There's
devil is
more.
a lie. there is
The
there
word
is
says, greater
more.
work shall we do.
Greater works, greater works shall we do. and
Exactly.
and and this is for men and women, because I see men all the time settle for women that can't undergird the purpose. I'm like, she was underdeveloped from the
Wow.
start. So you're
That's
wondering
good.
why your business is not flourishing, or why that gift or that dream that God has given you has not came into manifestation. You don't have the right people on your team, sir.
Wow. That's
She
good.
can't help you. She hasn't found herself. She don't even know that she had the wrong purpose. She had the wrong purpose and don't even know it. Because when
Hmm.
when a woman that is a wife comes into your life, she increases that relationship. It doesn't
Right.
always have to be romantic. It can be
Right.
business related, it can be a
Right.
friendship, or it can be romantic. But when you are in the presence of a woman that carries the anointing of a wife,
Right.
everything you touch is increases.
Exactly.
That's how you know
Exactly.
your seed is properly placed, when you see increase and overflow beginning to manifest in your life.
That's good. That's
But we're
good.
suffocating. We're suffocating, and we're not realizing that it's not the seed. You don't need another man. You need to change that soil. You don't need another woman to go drop your seed in.
Wow.
You just need to align properly with the right soil
Hmm.
and plant in the right season. See, that's the other
Exactly.
issue.
Hmm.
We don't plant in the
Definitely.
right season.
Definitely.
What
And
grows in the
sometimes,
winter?
yes, yes, that's what I was just about to say. We're casting our buds too soon as well. Sometimes we're casting them prematurely. We have to definitely, like, that goes back to just being in sync and being sensitive to the Spirit of God, because when you're sensitive, then there's an awareness that there's an awareness that God will literally shake us, and he'll let us know when we're not, when something's not for us. He'll let us know when this right here, error detected. He'll give us that signal, and you basically to let us know this ain't it. This don't fit here. This isn't the right
Mm-mm.
charger for this right here. Better yet, even us that have, the number 87 gas, number
Mm-hmm.
93 gas,
Come
89 gas.
on.
There are certain vehicles that can use certain gas in your car. When when somebody has put the wrong kind of gas in your car, because what? It's gonna let you know. It's gonna start putting, or smoking, or not driving right, or driving rough. It's gonna start driving funny, and then you have to go do what? You have to go get a gas. What they call it? A gas filter, gas cleaner.
Filter.
They
Uh-huh.
call it something. But you have to go then, and you have to get that to clean out all that old debris, all that old stuff, all that old gas that they put inside. So I'm telling you, like right now, we definitely have to be sensitive now more than ever to the voice of God. How do we know the voice of God? That's spending time with Him.
Hmm.
Spending time with God more than we're spending time with people. Spending time with God more than we're spending time on our phones, texting, sexting,
Come on, sis.
flirting,
Come on.
Facebooking, lurking, all of that. We have to spend more time with God, and that calls us to go to a place of intimacy, and that's developed, and then that's when God can speak to us. That's when God he won't leave us he won't leave us in secret. He will literally let us know the tricks, the schemes, the tactics of the enemy. He won't leave us blind to what's coming ahead. He
Mm-mm.
won't. He ain't gonna let nothing sneak up behind you and make you go under. Pretty much, he ain't gonna let nobody hit you from behind, sneak up on you. What they call it? Getting snuck from behind.
Getting snuck.
You won't get snuck.
He ain't gonna let
We
you
have
get snuck in
to
these streets.
exactly. It goes down, but we have to just find ourselves in a place of just letting go of certain things, basically, and that is peeling the layers off, peeling the layers of
Yes.
shame, the layers of doubt, the layers of frustration, the layers of not knowing who we are, the identity crisis, the
Mm-hmm.
layers of lies, and that's the lies of the enemy that he's told us and that we've literally believed.
Yeah.
We have to peel those layers off. Peel those layers off and make sure that we are in alignment. God, if it calls for me letting go of this, I'll let it go. I just want to make sure that I'm connected to you. God,
Yeah.
if you ain't in this soil, I don't want to be in it. That's how we have to be with God. God, if you're not in this soil,
Come
even if it
on.
looks good, even if it looks like it's for me, if you're not in it, I don't want to be in it. If you're not in it, I don't want it. That's what we need to develop with God. And I mean, we need to be like that with everything, with our businesses, friendships,
Mm-hmm.
relationships. I mean, the whole nine, ministry, different assignments. We
Mm.
can't, we just have to make sure that God is in it. God, if this ain't your will, I don't want it. I don't care if it looks good. I don't care how much it's paying. God, if you're not in it, I don't want it.
Yeah.
That's how we have to be, truly. And God will do that. He will listen to us and He will truly honor that. So,
He really will, and he'll open up a way and a gateway
hmm
for our escape.
yes, He will.
He will truly open up a gateway for our escape when he realizes that we are serious about our Father's business.
Yes, He will.
And I remember, when I got serious about my Father's business, and um, you know, I I'll tell you about fear and how it can hold you. The first time I left and I separated, because me and my ex separated twice. The last
hmm
time divorced, but the first time when I separated, God told me then. God had spoke to me then, and I told you that God had spoke to me then and was like, "It's time to go." It was like
hmm
no warning at all. I just knew I had to go,
Wow.
and fear sent me home. Fear literally sent me home. I was gone for 6 months,
Wow.
and was gone for 6 months.
Mhm.
and just abruptly was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make this work. This is gonna work. I can,
Mhm.
maybe I shouldn't have went about it this way. I just began to get so confused about. I was conflicted. And that's what the
Mhm.
enemy will do. He will make you feel conflicted about what God has said. And I remember
Yes.
going into being in therapy at that time and talking
Mhm.
to my therapist. And my therapist exact words was, "It ain't gonna get better.
Wow.
It's not going to become what you're desiring." And
Wow.
I just went back. Didn't care. Decided, I
Mhm.
don't think I can do this. I think that you start uh feeding yourself the things that keep you in bondage. Like, I done invested too much time to let you just walk off with this.
Mhm.
Those are what you tell yourself to go to
Yes.
jail. Okay, when you start putting that time factor out there, and you feel like, why I invested in too much time with this person. I done been through
Right.
too much with this person. I done gave too much to this person that I can't let you go. Right,
Yeah.
and so I went back and I did another 3 years. They were
Wow.
rough. I became someone that I didn't know.
Mhm.
I did not like myself. I was still battling, with a form of a depression.
Yeah.
And and all I felt was that my purpose was just being suffocated,
Wow.
suffocated, suffocated, suffocated. And it was like, when people want you to be someone else, this is another way, when you see it in the wrong soil, is when people don't want you to be you.
Wow.
When people want you to be
That's
the
good.
figment of their imagination, and they don't want you to be you, clear indication that you're in the wrong relationship.
Exactly. That's
Cause
good.
cause they're in a relationship mentally with an Instagram model, or
Exactly.
something, that they saw on TV, or
Right.
somebody that they saw on their job, or somebody that they met up in Walmart. They're not in a
Mhm.
relationship with you when people want you to be somebody that you're not.
Exactly. That's right.
And I can remember, hiding my anointing,
Mhm.
hiding the gifts that God had placed in me, hiding the things
Wow.
that I knew God was calling me to do, and not being able to be bold about it or even be able to speak about it. And
Wow.
so when I started writing Purposeful Pain, and God said, "Okay, it's time now. Choose ye this day." It was literally, he was like, "You choose." I'll never forget standing in my living room, and he just flat out, God was like, "If you stay in this, you'll never come out.
Wow.
You'll never come out." And so when people are like, "Well, what you go?" No, I could never return back to the thing that tried to kill my purpose, that tried to kill my
Exactly.
destiny. I can't. And the enemy will try to tell people, "Well, things could change." Let me tell you something, baby. I can't go back to the place that tried to kill my destiny. Too many lives are depending on my obedience.
Exactly.
And who I
Exactly.
have blossomed to be now,
Mhm.
I didn't work too hard for this one.
Exactly.
That the last person, the version of me, I ain't work hard for her. Okay? I ain't had to lose nothing. I ain't had to die to nothing. But this one right here, oh, this is fit for a king,
Yes.
and a king only. And so I want
Jesus.
people to know that are listening to this. Hey, Nancy Williams, people that are listening to this live, people that will listen to this live later on, because you got some people they gotta wait till the live go off so they can really get their life together, and that's good. And that's why I save
Yep.
every last one of mine, because I want people to get free. Is that, don't stay too long.
Wow.
Don't stay too long. Our
Mhm.
time is drawing nigh on this earth.
Mhm.
And God wants to know, what did you do with the purpose that I gave you?
Exactly.
What did you do with the gifts that I gave you? You can't say, "Well, I just, I was trying to stay and make it work." God said, "But I didn't call you to do that. I said it was time to go."
Exactly.
See, my pain gave me my platform. My pain gave me my purpose. I would have never become the woman that I am today had I not gone through the wilderness and the pruning season in which God had to send me through. He sent me through the pruning season, but he sent me through. He did not designate that as my home. And for some of you that are
Exactly.
listening to this live right now, the enemy is trying to tell you that this place of damnation, this place of stagnation, this place of stunted growth is your place of home. No, this is not your home. You are passing through.
Right.
God is shedding skin off of you that cannot
Yes.
go. God is shedding those old thoughts, those old ideas. Even before I got on this live with you, I began to tell God, begin to give me eyes of forgiveness. God, give me eyes of
Yes.
empathy, God. Allow me to
Mm-hmm.
see people through the eyes of empathy. Allow me to see, God,
Exactly.
people let me see them through the lenses that you see them,
Mm-hmm.
through the eyes of forgiveness. Because God, I want to make sure that I'm in a space and a place that I'm effectively able to be used,
Yes.
not just
Wow.
used up. Some people just used up, friend.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not, and you can tell that they're in search of the very thing that God is trying to show them, but they're hunting. And I shared this last week
Exactly.
with Carlton. I said a man that is hunting is looking to kill.
Wow.
A man that is hunting is looking to kill. The word of God said that he will find favor, finding meaning he will locate. And
Yes.
when a man finds his purpose, that's when he locates his favor. It ain't no
Exactly.
point of you needing favor if you ain't got no purpose, if you ain't located the purpose at. You know what I'm saying? That's
That's
like you
good. I
asking me
like
to
it.
come work for a restaurant that you ain't even built.
Right.
The business is not even been formed. Where I'm supposed to work?
No blueprint.
Nope.
No nothing.
And the devil is a lie for those of you who believe and think that you gotta let a man break you first before God will bless you next. That's not how that works.
Mm-mm.
When God has something prepared for you, God is an intentional God. He is the ultimate gentleman. That means he has
Exactly.
everything prepared. So I want to
Exactly.
come against that spirit of feeling like you gotta first be treated badly before you can take hold of the things that God has for us. That's not
Right.
true.
Right.
That is not true. And a lot of us die in those
That's good.
situations.
Jesus.
A lot of us are dying in those situations because we want to be a ride or die. I don't want to ride or die for nobody but Jesus, okay? I'm not
Right.
ride or die no more in this season. That's not cute to me no more.
Right.
A man calling you his queen after he done disrespected you for 10, 15 years, that ain't cute to me no more.
Right.
A king will rise when a queen demands him to stand. At the end of the day, you don't have to keep
That's
settling
good.
for that stuff.
That's right.
Because what is happening is that we are extending our seasons. We're extending our stays in the wilderness. When when when
Okay.
when God brought the Israelites through the wilderness, he did not originally ordain for them to be there 40 days and 40 nights. It was their
Exactly.
complaining that kept them there, that extended their
Exactly.
seasons.
That's right.
But
Their
that was not
cycles
the
of
original
mine.
plan.
Right.
And so I
Definitely.
want to make sure that I speak that into someone's life that is on this live and that is going to hear it later. That God's original plan was not to keep you in that relationship or that friendship or that job longer than what you are there. You are there as long as you are now because you will not be obedient.
Exactly. We have to
You will
obey
not be
God.
obedient, and you keep changing the fertilizer. That ain't gonna make that soil any better. I ain't never saw fertilizer make concrete soil. If you in concrete, baby, you're still gonna be in concrete. I don't care how much
Yep.
fertilizer you put on that concrete, it's not turning into soil. Your seed is not
Mm-mm.
gonna grow.
Right. That's
God need to
good.
have a sign up on the gates that say, I said what I said. Because see, our issue is we want God to say one thing but do another thing. We want God to come down to our level because we don't want to be stretched into his. That's the
That's right.
issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's why our seeds are dying. That's why we are not seeing manifestations that we should be seeing in this season. Yeah, we're dealing with COVID, but Candy, me and you are not of this world. I'm not
Right.
dealing with it.
Mm-mm.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not dealing with it. I have
Right.
birthed more businesses and gotten even more focus in this season than I have in past seasons.
Yes.
I'm not
Yes.
of this world.
Mm-mm.
And I mean that.
We're in the world, but we are not of it. And
No,
we
we're
are not
not.
going to conform. We're not going to conform to what the world is trying to force on us. We're not, no, we're pushing past that.
And that's
We,
why you got to watch your environments, because sometimes the people around you will have you conforming.
exactly.
They'll give you the excuse that you need to just remain the person that God told you you could stay.
Exactly. That's
And
good.
that right there can be another hindrance to your seed. If God already
Right.
told you that you can remain a thought, the sis, you can't be a thought no more. Your season of
Mm-mm.
being a thought is over. And that's just the
Time
word
to
of the
come on
Lord.
up.
You just have to just come on up.
Right.
Because you can't be asking God for a king, but you want to still be acting like Jezebel. That's just what
Exactly.
happened.
Mm-hmm.
Jezebel was still not, she wasn't in nobody castle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you
Right.
can't have it both ways.
Mm-mm.
And it's
That's
like we don't
good.
want to get real with people. We don't want to get real with people about what it really costs us to carry a mantle.
It's not easy.
Some things it's gonna cost you, but half of that stuff wasn't paying you. So I don't even
Mm-hmm.
see what you want to hold on to it for anyway. Because you was already
Exactly.
complaining, wishing somebody else would come help you carry this load, because it wasn't feeding you.
Right.
And I want the people of God to understand that it's time out for us settling for. We're settling for, sis. And I'm like, you are worth more than what you are settling for. A lot of
Definitely.
us, the reason our seeds are not growing is because we keep settling.
Exactly.
We keep settling.
That's
Everything is not the enemy. Some of it is our laziness and our
exactly.
inability to wait on God.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to talk to God. Like I told God, I was like, I'm not about to just keep worrying about when you sending me nobody. I already told you that I'm a be obedient and do what you ask. That's the right.
Right.
I'm not about to keep checking the mailbox to see if it's here yet.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll be honest with you, friend. I coach clients, and I
Mm-hmm.
coach married couples and things of that nature. And sometimes I be listening to them thinking, I don't miss this. I ain't lying. I be thinking like, oh, I don't miss this. I like my freedom. I only got to answer to two people, my children. And when they with their daddy, I gotta answer all that stuff. I gotta hear all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. But God said, no, where I'm taking you, there's greater.
That's right.
You're gonna need more hands. So no, you gotta get obedient. You wanna get yourself together. So for me, for those of you that are listening that are single, enjoy your single season. Allow
Yes.
God to continue to prune you and to show you you. I ask God every single day, show me me.
Yes. That's
Show
deep.
me me. Every single day, show me me, because I don't want to show up in a relationship with all kind of past bags that I could have addressed and left in my single season.
Yes, and now you're trying to make them people, whoever you're with now, you want them to fix
Yeah.
and be rid of your bags. You have to do that. We
Yes.
have to do that. We can't expect us to come in and then put all your issues on somebody else. Now they trying to figure out why they have crazy, because you don't put all your stuff on them. They're weighed down. They're depressed now. Here they
Yeah.
are. They've never thought the way they thought. No, until you came along. Now here they go, half crazy. So I'm telling you, we have to learn how to declutter before we
Mhm.
try to force ourselves or put ourselves in situations or environments that we're not even prepared or equipped to be in, or either we're not equipped to be in them, or we've outgrown them. We
Come on.
definitely, that's where that obedience comes in. That's where that separation comes in, and that's where that adhering to the voice of God comes in. It's definitely necessary. And when you don't, let me tell you this: when you have not heard God clearly, if
Mm.
God has not given you an answer clearly after you've pleaded with him, after you've sought the face of God, after you sat at his feet, and I'm telling you, when you don't hear him, continue praying, and don't you make a move. You be still and continue to pray. God will show you exactly what you need, whether it be via a sign, whether it be him knocking at your door, or just you picking up your Bible and the answer is there. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. God will give you that, but until God speaks, I'm telling you, we have to stop making moves that are not of God, for putting ourselves in relationships that we're not supposed to be in because we think, oh no, or putting ourselves on jobs when God never even called you to be an employee. He called for you to be the employer.
Come
You know,
on.
so you want a quick fix? No. You know, we have to stop devaluing ourselves and start valuing who we are, valuing the God in us, valuing the oil that God has given us. We are pretty much looking past and overlooking our oil and thinking somebody else had. No, God equipped you. He
Yeah.
didn't just put it on one, He put it on you too.
Mm-hmm.
He gave it to you too. So we have the power. It's here in our mouths, and it's here in our spirits, it's here in our heart. Whatever you need God to do in this season, I declare over your lives today that you begin to speak it out of your mouth. I decree and declare that this right now, this season that you're in, this chapter that you're in, is not the end of your chapter. There's a
Yes.
whole nother chapter, and it's greater. It's bigger. I'm telling you, I posted, I don't know if it was yesterday or today, I cannot remember, but God is bigger than what's in front of you. God is bigger than what you see. God is bigger than your bills. He's bigger than this pandemic. He's
Come
bigger than
on.
COVID. He's bigger than the turmoil in your marriage. He's bigger than the layoff that you've experienced on the job. He's bigger than you being furloughed. He's bigger than your children being sick. He's bigger than that loved one being on the hospital bed. He's
Mm.
bigger than your sickness. He's
Come
bigger
on,
than any
Candy.
disease. He's bigger than anything. He's bigger than the financial problems. He's bigger than that low credit score. He's bigger than it all. And God is about to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we can ask or even think. If we can just learn to lean on Him and stop leaning on man, if we can learn to just touch Him. How do we touch God? We get intimate with God and stop trying to be intimate with everybody else, but be intimate with God. Get in His face, seek His face, get in your car if you got to get in your car just to get a prayer through. If you got to get on your face in your bedroom, do it. If you got to create you a prayer room, do it. Whatever you got to do, start right now. You don't have to fix yourself up. You don't have to wait until you feel the urge to stop smoking. No, do it right now, because I'm telling you, God is a redeemer. God is a deliverer. God is a healer. He'll do it if we come just as we are. God will do it. I truly believe that God's about to move by His Spirit and by His might like never before within us that believe. If we can learn to change our belief system and get back to a place of where God originated it to be, the way God created it to be, and that was for us to believe and have faith through Him.
Mm-hmm.
He said in His word that if we can have faith the size of a mustard seed, we can do whatever. I'm telling you, we can literally, you want a house, you got crazy faith, gotta do it. Yeah, it may seem crazy to man, it may seem foolish to man. You know, you get in a house and nobody else in your family has ever bought one, or it looks like right now, it looks like things are going on. Now, God will go in and literally cause the credit scores to change up. He'll cause glitches in the system. He'll cause favor to be on you. He'll cause you to
Come
be
on.
connected with somebody that can literally, not them do it, but God will literally cause them to help put you in a place, oh my God, of nothing but favor. He will cause your name to begin to ring for contracts. I'm telling you, right now, God's doing it. He's doing it. And in this season that we're in, it's a prosperous season.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's talking. I don't know what today is. Yeah, I don't. I don't know if it's 8-9 or 8-8. But I've been hearing everybody talking about the new beginning.
It's 8-9.
8-9. Everybody's been talking about the new beginning, the new beginning. My
Come
birthday's
on.
next month, the number 9. Yeah, I said
Correct.
it. The new beginning. Oh, and that's something too. Today is 8-9. It's a new beginning for you. So everything that
Mm.
happened yesterday and prior, it's over. It happened. It was for your good. It's good that you were afflicted. It was good that you were
Don't make me
afflicted.
shout.
It
Yes.
was good that you were afflicted. It
It
was
was
good that
good.
it was good that the struggle was real for you. It was good that all that
Yes.
happened. It was good that you didn't have enough money. It was good that they rejected you. It was
Yes.
good that you didn't get the contract. It was good because now God's about to show forth His glory. Now God's about to come through for you. Yes, why? Because you down on your knees. And I'm talking about down on your knees in the face of God, in the presence of God. You literally in a direct vein with God. Because it goes down in the DM. Everybody be talking about it goes down in the DM. Yeah, it goes down in the DM when it's just me and God. It's a
Mm-hmm.
direct message. Me and God. Nobody but me and God. I don't care what the outside may look like. I don't care what I may see. I got tunnel vision right now. It goes down in the DM. When you get on your face before God, there's no good thing that He'll withhold from you. He won't withhold any good thing from you. If you want it, God got you. He said that He'll give you the desires of your heart.
Come on.
He said He'll give you the desires of your heart. If we're right, if our heart is right, if our mind is right, if we're obeying Him, if we're keeping His commandments, if we're not abusing His grace. Yes, His grace is sufficient, but we don't want to abuse His grace. God, I
Yes.
messed up like that before. I don't want to do it again. God, strengthen me so that I don't make the same mistake again. God, you do it. And while you're doing it, God, strip me of me. Because it's me that's keeping me from me. It's me that's keeping me from destiny. It's me that's blocking the flow. And I'm tired of my flow being blocked. I'm tired of my flow being congested. I'm
Yes.
tired of my flow. And I'm going to say this right here. I'm tired of being constipated
Come
with the
on.
guilt, with the baggage, with the past, with the bondage, with the turmoil, with the frustrations, with the doubt, with the low self-esteem, with the, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, but I don't do it like they do it. Good. It's good you don't do it like they do it because you flavor. God gave you some flavor on it. See, the difference is they can't reach the people that God has set for you to reach. God is literally stretching you beyond your reach.
Come on here, Candy.
He's stretching you beyond your reach. So, in the stretching does not feel good. The stretching doesn't feel good. It hurts. Think about when you got a band, not a band-aid, but a rubber band on, and you pull that rubber band back. It don't feel good. It feels like it's about to break. Oh, I can't take it. It's gonna break, and if it breaks, it's gonna hurt me. Hi, yababa, soko rababa sha. But God said you will not break in this season. I don't care what it looks like. You won't break. I don't care how much of a stretching it may be. You will not break. I got your back, God says. I have your back, and I have you right in the place that you need to be. You will not cast your buds too soon. Oh, God, I bless you, God. That on today, the people that are on this live, Father, that they will produce good fruit. They
Yes,
will bear
God.
forth good fruit, Father.
Yes,
You
God.
won't just have the leaves looking good. Ooh, you won't just be dressed up and your heart is all a mess. You won't be having the leaves and no fruit. You ain't producing nothing. No, you are in a season where God is about to literally pull the curtains back. And when He pull the curtains back, people are going to see the productivity taking place. They're going to see that God is on your side. They're going to see you thriving. They're going to see you. They're going to know, yeah, oh, she was just in the pit. Yeah, I was in the pit, but God done put me in the palace. God's taking you today from that place of Lodabar where you were not producing.
Yes,
See, in
God.
Lodabar, that's the land of nothing. Nothing produces there.
Mm-mm.
Nothing grows there. He's taking you from that wilderness and that desert. You've been through it long enough. Your wilderness is over. You will not die in the wilderness. But today, God is shifting you to your place of breakthrough. I believe it. And I know it. And I stand with each of you that are on here right now. And you that will be watching the replay later. That this is not it for you. This is not it for you. This is not
Mm-mm.
it. There's more.
Mm-mm.
If you give God a yes, God will give you more. If you give God a yes, God, I don't know how to get out of this. I'm in an entanglement. Hi. Yeah. I'm
Come on,
entangled
sis.
with
Come on, sis.
myself. I'm entangled with friends. I'm entangled with this mess that I'm in. I'm entangled in this affair. I'm entangled with this affliction because I've allowed this affliction to become who I am. And this is not who you have called me to be.
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
free me from all entanglements. The entanglement in my mind. The entanglement of who my friends and my mother and my father said I'd be. The entanglement of who my ex-spouse said I'd never be. The entanglement of who the enemy keeps placing me to be. Who he keeps putting me around. No, no more. We're breaking free of the bondage. We can be healed. We can be delivered. We can be free. We can be liberated. It all boils down to how bad do you want it. It boils down to how bad do you want it. If you want it, God will fix it. If you face it, if you admit to God, God, I got a problem.
Come on
I
here.
got a problem, God, and I can't get rid of this. Ha. God, it feels so good to me. It's so good.
Come on,
How can
friend.
something that feels so good be so wrong?
Come on, friend.
If you bring it to God, God, I desire it, but God, it's not good for me. It's not healthy for me. I don't want it. God, I don't want to pick up the phone when she called. I don't want to pick up the phone when he called. God, I don't want to keep picking up this marijuana. I don't want to keep picking up these X pills. I don't want to keep picking up this depression. I don't want to keep picking up the pornography. I don't want to keep picking up the lust. I don't want to keep picking up of the adultery. I don't want to keep
Come
picking
on.
this up. If we do it, if we face it, God will fix everything about us. And it's our season to break free. It's our season to produce and bear fruit, good fruit,
Good
not that
fruit.
old rotten fruit. How do we get a rotten fruit? If you stay in that same soil that you
Mm.
can't even that can't even help feed you. If you stay in that same soil that God done brought you out of, that's how the fruit are rotten.
Come
We don't
on.
want rotten fruit. We don't want to bear forth rotten fruit. That's delayed. It'll cause us another delay. It's time for us to rise. It's time for us to break free. And we're doing it today. 8-9, new beginning and a new birthing.
Come
In
on.
Jesus' name, I believe it. Amen.
Baby, so you must have heard me because in my mind I was like, oh, I hope Candy about to start praying. And then you had just went in, baby. I was about to just fall about this chair. Like, come on, God.
Yeah,
Because friend, I believe that with you so heavy. You know, I was sharing before you got on and you were getting situated that I know that God is about to do a new thing in this season, and that is our season to continue to press, to not give up, to not get weary and well doing, to see the salvation of the Lord, and to
exactly.
know that
Yes.
his promises are
Yes.
still yea and amen. And I don't care what it looks like, and I don't care what the enemy said it wasn't gonna be and what he said it couldn't be, that God's promises are still yea and amen.
He
And
won't go back
stop
on his word.
settling. No. And
Yes.
stop settling. Stop settling for
Definitely.
them low hanging fruit.
Right.
See, I almost settled for them low
Just
hanging
because
fruit.
just because it's in our
It was
reach.
right there. It was
No.
easy. It wasn't gonna be no.
It
It wasn't
looked
gonna cost me nothing.
good. Dangling there. Just it looked good. It was easy. You didn't have to
Yes.
go, you didn't have to go through a fight.
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm. It was
No,
gonna be
no,
an
no, no.
entanglement.
Exactly.
It was gonna be an entanglement. And God said, no, no, no. You will not cast your pearl on swine. Not in this season. God said you're going to stop casting your pearl on swine in this season. And I
Yes.
believe that for those of you who are listening, that are going to listen, I just decree and declare over your life that this season of drought is over.
Ah, yeah.
The
Thank you,
season of
Lord.
drought is over in your life. I decree and
Thank
declare that the
you.
season of drought is over, that God is about to multiply you. He's about to increase you. He's about to
Yes.
take you from
Thank you,
favor to
Lord.
favor, from glory to glory. That this is
Yes.
the day that the Lord has made. Yes, you're going to rejoice
Yes.
today. I know
Yes.
yesterday was bad.
Yes,
I know
God.
you done
Thank
took
you.
some L's. I know mama left, daddy died. Some of their parents have died together during COVID. But God has still not forgotten about you. And the
No, he
enemy
hasn't.
wants us to believe that we are the forgotten people, but we are God's
We're
children.
not. Exactly.
We are God's
No.
favor. We are the reminder. We are not God's favorite. We are his favor.
Wow.
We're not his
That's good.
favorite. The enemy will have us thinking that we're in some silent competition to be God's favorite. No, I saw somebody post a couple days ago, I'm God's favorite. The devil is a lie. I'm God's favor. I'm not
Right.
in competition. The thing that he has started in
Exactly.
me, that he has established in me, he will see it through to the
Yes.
end. So no,
Yes.
I'm not his favorite. And I come against that spirit of competition even now.
Jesus. Thank
And
you,
I come
Lord.
against that spirit of feeling like you can't do because somebody else is doing. You can't be. Why you can't?
Jesus. Thank you,
Why
Lord.
you can't? Because the
Yes,
enemy
God.
is so cunning, friend, and it is so many people should be birthing not just a business but empires. There's so
Yes.
many people that God has called to have multiple streams of income and multiple businesses, but the enemy is trying to tell them, well, how you gonna run that if you can't do this? How you gonna do this if you can't do that? God said, if you just put one foot in front of the other, I've already made the crooked path straight. I've already went before you. I've already gone before you. I've already set it up for you. All you got to do is trust me enough to leave the thing that you're trying to cleave to. Some of the things that God is asking you to leave is because He knows it will die if it travels with you.
Mm-hmm. That's
It will
good.
die if it travels with you. See, when I had to leave my place, I had to leave my place because it would have died trying to travel with me. It would have
That's good.
died. And God said, who do you want more? Who do you want more? Do you want more of
Exactly.
me, or do you want more of man?
Yes.
Because see, I couldn't succumb to the things of the world and become all this stuff that I was not. I could not,
Jesus.
because I have lives attached to my obedience. It's bigger than me. It is bigger than me. And so I just want people of God to know that you are worth more than what you have settled for.
Yes.
And that the dreams that God has given you, He's not giving you these dreams so that you can have something cute to talk about in the morning. No, He's coming to
Exactly.
you during your unconscious mind time to begin to show you what He thinks of you.
Exactly.
Some of us, the only time God gets our attention is when we are asleep,
Mm-hmm.
which
That's how he
makes us
speaks to me
dreamers.
sometimes. Yeah. I'm a definite dreamer. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times when I don't want to, when God is speaking to me while it's day, while it's day, sometimes I'm not receptive, or sometimes I'm a little too nosy. I want to know the ins and outs. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, God, how you gonna do that? Especially with the gift that He's given me. I'm like, God, okay, how you gonna do that? And they in this kind of situation. So what God will do when I'm asleep, then God will speak, and I have no choice but to literally listen, because I wake up and it be just, I'm telling you, if I connect with the person, it be just what God spoke to me while I'm asleep.
Mm.
So I'm telling you, God is in a season where He's speaking to us. The
Yes.
church is speaking. God is speaking.
Yes.
God is speaking. And I want you to know, those of you that are on here, before we close out too, don't, like she said, don't get weary in your well doing. This too is passing.
Mm-hmm.
This too shall pass. And I want you to declare right now, if you can, those of you that are on here, and I'm standing with you for every person that'll type on the screen, this too has passed.
Come on.
It has passed. What you are facing, it has passed. The word says, after you have suffered a while, then will I strengthen you. Then will
Mm-hmm.
I restore you.
That's it.
Then will I
Establish. Come on.
confirm you. Then will I establish you. God is doing it. He's restoring you back to who He's called you to be. He's confirming you. Man ain't gonna have to validate you. Man ain't gonna have to confirm you. God is doing it. He's
Yes.
strengthening you. So where you have been weak, where you have been propped up on a leaning side, where you have been propped up on your neighbor, and your neighbor didn't have the strength to carry you, where
Come
you have been
on.
propped up or propped into the soil that didn't have the ability to contain you, God said that I am strengthening you. So you don't have to worry about failing again. You don't have to worry about failing again or falling back into the same trap. God said, I'm strengthening you. It's me. It's me that's doing it. It's me. So I'm restoring. I'm confirming, and I'm strengthening. And God says, now I'm about to establish you. So where your way had been heavy, where your way had been seeming like it was a lot of opposition, where I had already given you the blueprint to the business, and it seemed like it was a pull for you to even start the business, or it seemed like it was a pull for you to go to school. God said, I'm establishing you now. Get ready. I'm making your way sweatless. I'm making your way easy.
Thank you,
This
God.
is it. This is it. This too has passed. It is passed. So that old stuff is done. It's good that all that happened. It's good that that happened to you. It's good that you fell down. What's even better, what's even better is you getting up. The struggle was real, but your
Mm-hmm.
get up is even realer. That's what God is looking at right now. Can you get up? And when you get up, are you going to stay up?
Come on.
When you get up, are you gonna go back to your vomit like a dog? Or you gonna get up and you gonna get back up with power like Jesus did? You gonna get back up with a fight. One thing for sure, we don't like losing no fights. We don't like taking no L's. So when you fall down and you get back up, you come back up swinging. If you gotta fight your way out of it, if you gotta fight for it, fight for it. And I'm talking fight, not physically, but if you have to, hey.
It'd be like that sometimes.
I question God every now and then. I'm like, God, you still ain't
God,
got that little piece out of me yet. But
God,
anyway, that's
what
another
part you want me
subject,
to get,
okay?
God? God, I'm trying. I'm trying. But that's
Right.
so real. You gotta let the enemy know sometimes that you're not here to be played with. And you can't have my children, and before we end, I'll begin to pray over your children. Today I was in
Yes.
here covering both of my boys, because I know that God is going to do great and mighty works through my children.
Yes.
Because one thing about God, when the beautiful thing that he allowed women to do is to produce children. But we're
Yes.
not just producing children, but we are producing solutions. And so you have to begin to cover your solutions, because our children
Definitely.
are the solution to a problem that has not arose yet.
Yes.
And so that's why the enemy is after their minds, after their talents. He's after their sexuality. He's after even their mindset, and even their confidence level. The enemy is
Yes.
after that. And so
Yes.
I had to begin to bind up the enemy around my children, because I
Yes.
know my children are blessed. I know that
Exactly.
my seeds are going to crush the head of the serpent. I know that my children are
Mm-hmm.
going to be the answer that the world needs in its appointed time, because the word of God says that the vision is for the appointed time. And I know that I
Yes.
birthed something that's going to crush the head of the serpent. And so I understand why he's after my seed. I understand why he's after anything that's attached to
Yes.
my tree, because of what it bears, of what it
Exactly.
fulfills when someone takes a bite of it. So you got to make sure that you are covering all fronts,
Definitely.
because he's coming after them,
Mm-hmm.
younger and younger. He's coming after them. You have children who are
That's so
wanting
true.
to change their sexuality, and they ain't even had a menstrual cycle yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They haven't
Right.
even, bodies haven't even developed, but they feeling a certain
Definitely.
way, or they're thinking a certain way. And there's things on TV. You can't turn the TV on without all kind of
Yeah,
derogatory
those
things
commercials.
going on, commercials and things like that, that their eye gates are not prepared to
Right.
receive. So, as a woman of God, and for those of you who believe in God, and who know God's word, begin to cover your seeds in this season, because I'm telling you, the enemy is after our
Yeah,
seeds.
he
He
is.
knows. He knows that if they are to begin to produce fruit, they're gonna upset hell. And I know I
Yes.
birthed son that's going to upset hell. And so I had to
Yes.
begin to call out brokenness in my children, that God would begin to break off yokes off of my kids, that God would begin to cast those yokes into the pits of hell, that they will not prevail against my seed, that my children will be blessed,
Exactly.
that my boys will not be liars, that my children will not be
Yes.
thieves, that they will not be
Right.
manipulators, that they will not be narcissists. I come against all of it when it comes to
Yes.
mine.
Definitely.
And
We
so
have
we,
to.
people of God, we have got to, that's why the environment that our children are in and that we are in is so important, that it is so important that we
Yes.
are we are covering all fronts, because you don't know how he coming.
Exactly.
If you're not intimate with God and spending that time with God, he will blindside you.
Mm-hmm. He
He will
will.
blindside you, and he's hoping that he keeps you distracted to the point where you won't pay attention to the development that God is doing in you. Because if you're distracted
Exactly.
on a boo, then you won't realize that God is trying to develop your trust issues. If you're distracted on a boo,
Exactly.
then you ain't gonna realize that God is trying to develop your vulnerability, your transparency, your story, because you're
Mm-hmm.
distracted.
Wow.
Because
That's
we are
ex-
distracted, sis.
that's good. That's what the enemy is trying to do. Distract us. If he could bring us to a place of distraction, he can mess with everything. Because now we're
Yes.
focused. We're focused on that which is in front of us. If I can be real with y'all, there is a fruit fly or something in my house right now. And I've been asking my husband, I said, babe, is there some fruit? Was there some fruit or something out somewhere? Because I think I see a gnat.
Yeah.
You know, I think I see. I said, I think I see a gnat or something. So I'm checking to see if there's some fruit or something left out. And when you just saying this right here, I was just reminded of that. We can't be distracted by the little things. You see what I'm saying? We can't be
Come on.
distracted because we'll end up missing our true purpose. We'll end up missing our mandate if we're worried about the little things. You
Mm-hmm.
know, after this live, I'll go get some spray or something and find that little netty. We gonna kill it. But right now, we can't. She said the earpiece is giving feedback.
You want me to take mine out?
No, it was okay. Maybe that helps. But yeah, so we can't be distracted by small things and miss the boat, miss the
Yeah.
ship. God is literally I see right now, I see cargo. I see a boat, and I see cargo with things on it, and God is about to make a special delivery. And if we're not in position, if we're not in the right posture and the right stance with God, and we're not adhering to his voice and sensitive to him, then we'll miss everything. We'll miss our shipment. We'll miss our delivery. Think about this right here before we get off. When have y'all ever had a package that was so important? You've been waiting on this package, okay, but then you see the little note on your door with FedEx. FedEx got it real bad. They'll leave the note on your door, and it says, "We'll come back for a reattempt, for a second attempt on such and such date."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you come back and you're expecting it, but you end up missing the date. You end up missing the delivery. So then they'll put another note on your door, and it'll say, "We'll come back for a final attempt." And then, you got to meet them right there, because if not, they're going to do what? They're going to return to sender. We cannot afford to be so distracted doing nothing, doing little things, or being distracted with the little stuff down here, the earthly things, that we're missing what God is trying to do. God is trying to make a delivery. He's trying to make a delivery. And see, just like that tree, that the fig tree, when Jesus came, he had to been, working all day. He had been, praying for people, delivering people, doing all that. He come to eat, and there's no fruit on the tree.
Come on.
You're supposed to be bearing fruit by now. You're supposed to be producing by now. We cannot afford to miss this reattempt. We cannot afford to miss what God is doing by being distracted, people of God, being allowing ourselves to be placed in places that we don't supposed to be, distracted by little things, or being distracted by our environment, being distracted by our small relationships, distracted by social media. Social media has our minds just gone. Being distracted by how many likes we get, being distracted about who didn't like our stuff, being distracted over all that, being distracted of a denial letter. So what? Reapply. And I prophesy that to somebody right now. Somebody's been declined of something within these past 2 weeks. I dare you to go back and reapply. When you go back and reapply and you get that approval, inbox me or inbox Lauren. I want to know about it. I just want to know. I ain't going to post it. I want to know. But I'm telling you, God's about to allow you to get that approval. It wasn't meant for you to get that. It wasn't meant for you to get that job. It wasn't meant for you to go and get that unemployment. So that's why they denied you. Okay, God, you're supposed to be thinking of another master plan right now. There's something else that God has for you. People of God, do not get weary. God's about to do some things if we faint not. If we faint not, don't get tired.
Mm.
Karen Gates said it best. He said he got 6 jobs and he don't get tired. So we gonna let that man have all them jobs and not get tired?
Come on.
No, you got one and you tired. You got one and you can't even pray. No, we got one and we ain't even producing. No, we are producing in this season. Enough is enough. We've had our time of recovery. We've had our time to ourselves. We've had our time conforming. We've had our time playing around. Now God is calling us higher. He's calling us to a higher place in Him. In Him we can't lose. In him we won't lose. In him we'll never lose. Have we ever seen the righteous forsaken?
Mm.
No. Nor is seed begging for bread. We haven't. God ain't gonna forsake us. God's not gonna ignore us. God won't leave us blind. He won't. He won't. So get ready, people of God. That's all I have for today.
That is the well, Candy, thank you so much for being with me, sharing.
Can't hear you.
Do you hear me? Barely?
Barely.
Who am I? Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here with us and for sharing with me and letting me get to share you with the whole world, and taking time out of your busy schedule because we know, baby, you got about 10 jobs, child. We're so grateful. I'm so grateful to be able to have an amazing friend like you that can help me undergird the vision, that can, baby, that wars with me, that upsets the devil with me, that raises hell with me, and that really, really, truly has a heart for God and God's people. And your humility is beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing about you is your humility. And if anyone has ever met you, they know that about you. And they also know you got a lot of oil like your mama. And she don't care. Hey, mother. But I'm so grateful that God allowed us to share this time and be able to bless God's people this afternoon. So thank you so much for being with me, and I
Thank
love you
you.
so much.
I love you too. Thank you.
I love you so much. So you guys, please share our live. I pray that you were blessed. Whoever it was that needs to reapply, look, delayed but not denied. You better go ahead and reapply. Candy already said it. And baby, one thing about it, baby, when she say something, bet your life on it is happening. In Jesus' name. All right. Love you. Y'all have a good night. Bye.